Well, it was very profound. I don't know if you've seen Katy Perry talk about it, but she's basically a guru now.
We've got to get to Blue Origin because it's over the top. It's over the top what's happened with these women.
Is space the final frontier, the ultimate realm of human discovery and bravery, or has it just become the most expensive selfie backdrop for the ultra-famous? Forget the grit and sacrifice of early astronauts. We're now watching celebrities take 10-minute joyrides into orbit, declaring themselves changed forever. But back on Earth, not everyone's applauding. In fact, the reaction has been less one giant leap for mankind and more one giant collective eye roll, sparking fierce debate and even mockery from within Hollywood itself.
Let's not minimize this. Let's celebrate female astronauts.
That's the other thing. There has been female astronauts.
Let's not minimize this.
Imagine touching the edge of space, gazing down at the fragile blue marble of Earth and feeling profoundly changed? That's the narrative we were given after a recent high-profile, all-female crewed Blue Origin flight. Katy Perry, upon landing, dramatically kissed the ground, a moment instantly branded online as painfully cringe. She spoke of feeling super connected to love, essentially positioning herself as a space-age guru after what amounted to little more than an extraordinarily expensive roller coaster ride. This wasn't months orbiting in the ISS, this was minutes floating in zero gravity. Yet, the participants framed it as a deeply spiritual awakening, a divine feminine gift to humanity. While the intention might have been lofty, the execution felt jarringly out of touch, reducing the vastness of space to a backdrop for personal branding. But this carefully crafted image of cosmic enlightenment didn't land well with everyone, and the criticism started closer to home than they might have expected.
Prior to going up, you said that you needed to go to space to heal. I know you're only a few minutes removed from this.
I feel super connected to love.
Goodness.
I will never be the same.
You know, things might have gone sideways when even your fellow celebrities start throwing shade. The backlash wasn't just from anonymous Twitter trolls, it came directly from within the entertainment industry. Olivia Wilde couldn't resist reposting an image mocking Perry's ground-kissing theatrics, implying she acted like she'd survived Apollo 13, not a brief suborbital hop. Amy Schumer jumped in with her signature humor, joking she was a last-minute addition to the crew, lampooning the seemingly arbitrary selection process and performative nature of the whole affair. Even lifestyle mogul Martha Stewart subtly joined the roast, sharing a throwback video of her own zero-gravity flight experience pointedly set to a Katy Perry lyric. This wasn't just friendly ribbing, it was a clear signal from industry peers who understand fame and publicity better than anyone that this particular space venture had perhaps drifted into the realm of parody. That kind of celebrity-on-celebrity critique is rare, suggesting the mission didn't just miss the mark, it might have crashed and burned in the court of public and peer opinion. And the reactions from the crew themselves only added fuel to the fire.
I don't think you can describe it, because, you know what I was saying, it was like quiet, but then also really alive.
Faced with mounting ridicule describing her space trip as a mere ride, Gayle King wasn't having it. She took to the media upset, insisting, "Please don't call it a ride, that is not a freaking ride." She argued passionately that when men go up, it's called a flight, a journey implying the criticism was rooted in sexism. She declared, "There was nothing frivolous about what we did," emphasizing the supposed inspiration it provided for women and young girls. Yet this staunch defense felt dissonant when contrasted with descriptions of the onboard atmosphere. Moments like Katy Perry holding a daisy for her daughter Flynn, or Gayle herself musing that if she could handle space, maybe she could finally get her ears pierced. While defending the mission's gravity, these anecdotes painted a picture that felt, well, lighthearted. Her plea to recognize the journey's seriousness seemed undermined by the very personal, almost trivial moments shared, making the public wonder what truly defined this experience. Her impassioned defense, however, only intensified the debate about what these passengers actually achieved up there.
Feels like you hand-selected a couple of friends to go do this. I mean, it should have been a lottery system like Willy Wonka, where just 7 random people
pull out some guy who's not supposed to be here.
Just a cashier at HEB, someone from MS-13.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Get him in. Someone from Tren de Agua, and Lauren Sanchez, and Gayle King, and...
This brings us to a fundamental question. What even qualifies someone as an astronaut anymore? Traditionally, it involves years of intense physical and psychological training, rigorous scientific study, and often immense personal risk, all in the name of advancing human knowledge and exploration. These celebrity space tourists, however, embarked on a journey where the capsule was entirely remotely controlled. They were passengers, not pilots or active crew members. As critics pointedly noted, their training largely consisted of learning how to get in and out of the capsule and buckle their seatbelts, a stark contrast to the skills required of actual spacefarers. The comparison to Alan Shepard, the first American in space back in 1961, was frequently invoked. Shepard was celebrated for breaking barriers, for venturing into the unknown under perilous conditions. Celebrating passengers taking a similar trajectory 60 years later on a pre-programmed flight funded by immense wealth felt different. It blurred the lines, leading many to argue that while the experience might have been personally thrilling, calling these participants astronauts or a flight crew diluted the meaning of the term, likening it more to riding Soarin' at Epcot than commanding a spaceship. While they weren't piloting the craft, they were piloting a new and controversial narrative about space travel.
I'm much better now that the ladies are back from space.
What were they up there, 10 minutes?
Beyond the semantics of who gets called an astronaut, the mission drew heavy fire for what many perceived as overwhelming narcissism, the constant stream of selfies, the carefully curated moments of reflection looking deeply into the camera, the pronouncements about changing the world after just minutes off the planet. It all struck critics as incredibly self-centered. Lauren Sanchez, Jeff Bezos' fiancée and a key figure behind the flight, was shown weeping with emotion, later emphasizing girl power and the crew making space, not just taking it up. Yet this message of empowerment rang hollow for many, given that her access, and arguably the entire flight's existence, stemmed directly from her connection to one of the world's richest men. Critics described it as a vanity project, an utterly vacuous experience designed more for admiration of the participants' wealth and fame than for any collective human achievement. The focus seemed relentlessly inward, on personal feelings and image, rather than outward, on exploration or discovery. As the Earth shrank below them, their focus seemed fixed firmly on themselves, and the internet, as always, was watching and ready with its verdict. The public reaction online was swift, brutal, and often hilarious. Social media became a battlefield where critics and satirists had a field day. Jokes flooded timelines about the only thing truly orbiting the Earth being the passengers' egos. Memes compared the dramatic reactions to landing safely after a 10-minute flight to surviving a harrowing ordeal. The cost was a major sticking point, with countless comments contrasting the millions spent on this brief excursion with everyday economic hardships, summed up by the recurring line, "There's a lot of people who can't even afford eggs." The comparison to theme park rides became a running gag. People jokingly claimed astronaut status for riding Disney's Haunted Mansion multiple times. Instead of letting the mockery subside, some participants doubled down, getting defensive and lecturing the public for not understanding the mission's importance. Gayle King's insistence it wasn't a ride became prime meme material. This public roasting wasn't just about celebrity culture, it highlighted a growing disconnect between the ambitions of the super rich and the priorities and perceptions of everyone else.
Because yesterday, 6 celebrity women, including Gayle King, Katy Perry, and Lauren Sanchez, who is the plastic fiancé of Jeff Bezos, took a Blue Origin rocket into space on a trip that lasted from takeoff to touchdown less than 12 minutes in total.
Ultimately, this episode feeds into a larger conversation about the burgeoning era of billionaire space tourism. With figures like Jeff Bezos pouring fortunes into ventures like Blue Origin, space travel is shifting from a government-led pursuit of science and national prestige to a commercial enterprise catering to the ultra-wealthy. Is this the democratization of space, or simply the creation of an exclusive playground for billionaires bored with earthly luxuries? The selection process itself feels less like assembling the best and brightest for a critical mission and more like, as one commentator joked, a Willy Wonka scenario where golden tickets go to friends and insiders. Rather than rigorous selection based on skill or scientific contribution, access seems predicated on cash or connections. The goal appears increasingly geared towards generating headlines, creating spectacular PR stunts, and offering unparalleled bragging rights rather than pushing the boundaries of human exploration in a meaningful way. It leaves us wondering about the real legacy of these high-flying spectacles.
Up there because what you're doing is you're like really finding the love for yourself, because you got to trust in yourself on this journey, and then you're feeling the love when you come down for sure, and you're feeling that strength. So I feel really connected to that strong divine feminine right now.
Truly, it's like they're right back from Nam. What did they do? They got in their special Oscar de la Renta designed suits, laid down in a capsule, and came back in 10 minutes, you guys.
Beyond the orbiting egos and questionable claims of inspiration, there's another shadow these high-profile joyrides cast: their environmental footprint. While proponents might talk about the overview effect fostering environmental awareness, the launches themselves are anything but green. These rockets consume massive amounts of propellant, releasing significant emissions including carbon dioxide, soot, and other chemicals directly into the upper atmosphere, where they can linger and cause disproportionate damage. The carbon footprint per passenger on one of these short suborbital flights can dwarf that of a long-haul commercial flight, let alone more sustainable travel methods. When space tourism becomes frequent, the cumulative impact could be substantial, undermining global efforts to combat climate change. It adds another layer of ethical complexity. Is the personal thrill for a handful of wealthy individuals worth the potential environmental cost borne by everyone else? This question hangs heavy in the air long after the rocket fumes dissipate.
Absolutely insane. I don't know if it's just woman cringe, Hollywood cringe, or elitist billionaire privilege cringe, but it's absolutely insane.
They talk about modeling unity, about inspiring the next generation, about making space for women. Noble sentiments undoubtedly, but who realistically is being inspired by an experience fundamentally built on extreme wealth and exclusive access? The narrative pushed by participants that seeing them float in space for 10 minutes will suddenly open doors for young girls everywhere feels disconnected from reality. The message received by many isn't one of possibility, but one of profound inequality. It highlights a world where billionaires and their celebrity friends can literally buy a trip to the stars, while most people grapple with terrestrial concerns. The emphasis remains firmly on the personal transformation of the passenger, rather than any tangible benefit or breakthrough for science or society. This focus on individual epiphanies achieved through immense privilege risks, turning the awe-inspiring potential of space exploration into just another exclusive commodity, a distraction rather than a driver of genuine collective progress. It leaves us questioning what this chapter of space travel truly represents.
Flynn, I got you. With her Daisy?
I got you, Flynn.
Gotcha.
Stuffed animals. The moon! You guys, I will have to tell you, look at the moon. That's amazing.
Wow, look at the blue line.
Oh my God. Whoa. That's amazing.
Right? It's so amazing. Like, they went to see space. We're supposed to see them, right? Like, they admired the universe, and what they were expecting was for us to admire the fact that they were rich enough and famous enough to have been granted this utterly vacuous experience from which they learned absolutely nothing.
So what are we left with after the thrusters cool and the Instagram posts fade? This celebrity spaceflight, meant perhaps as a symbol of progress or female empowerment, became a lightning rod for criticism about elitism, narcissism, the environmental cost, and the changing meaning of space exploration itself. The intense backlash, even from fellow celebrities, suggests a deep public skepticism towards billionaire vanity projects masquerading as human advancement. It wasn't just about mocking Katy Perry kissing the ground or Gayle King defending her journey, it was about questioning who gets to go to space, why they're going, and whether these multi-million-dollar excursions offer anything more than fleeting thrills for the privileged few. As humanity potentially looks towards the stars for its future, we're forced to ask, is space truly for all mankind, or is it just becoming the ultimate status symbol, reserved for those who can afford the astronomical price tag? Only time will tell if these missions are remembered as stepping stones to the cosmos or just very expensive, very public joyrides.